Hey everyone, this is Larry. Welcome back to Today I Feel Like. Today I'm going to show you how to best stabilize your Sony RX0 Mark II footage and get 4K output. So we're going to jump into it, check it out, and here we go. Alright, in order to get the best stabilized footage out of this little camera, we need to do a couple of things that are going to seem counterintuitive. One of them is we need to actually turn image stabilization off in this camera. So it does have an image stabilization mode. It's pretty terrible, it's pretty useless, but it is in there, and what we want to do is actually turn it off. Now the other thing is we want to actually have a faster shutter speed than normal. So generally, if you adhere to the 180 degree rule or 180 rule, whatever they want to call it, if you're shooting at say 24 frames a second, you want your shutter speed to be 1/48th of a second. Or in the case of cameras like this, 50th of a second. Now, what we're actually going to do is double that again. So instead of shooting at a 50th of a second, we're going to shoot at a 100th of a second, or the closest thing that we can get to it. So we want to be able to have our faster shutter speed so that we get the best stabilization. So once you have that set in there, we're going to go ahead and, once I have it set in there, I'm going to go ahead outside and shoot some sample footage, and there's a couple of other things that I'm going to talk about while I'm outside, and we'll just test it, and then we'll take a look at how it all works out in post and how to use the software. Alright, so I went ahead and went outdoors and shot a couple of clips, so let's take a look and see what the footage looks like before stabilization and then after stabilization, and then we'll jump into the app and I'll show you my settings and how I use it, because it's very, very simple, but I just want to show you what it looks like and how I use the software. But let's first take a look at the clips without the stabilization and then with it. All right, so I am walking here and I have my shutter speed set up like I am. I have my image stabilization turned off. And there's one thing that you need to know when you're filming and planning on stabilizing your footage in post, and that is you're going to need to give yourself plenty of headroom. So as you can see right now, I am giving myself plenty of headroom up there. I would not normally film myself with this much headroom, but what you want to do is you want to make sure that when you stabilize this and the software crops into your image, that you don't end up cutting your head off. So if you have something that's important to you up above or down below, make sure you have plenty of room around that so that you can actually have your footage stabilized without having the important parts of your footage chopped off. So for me right now, while I'm vlogging, it's my head. So I'm giving myself plenty of headroom so I can have my footage stabilized and not end up with my head chopped off. All right, so I am walking here and I have my shutter speed set up like I am. I have my image stabilization turned off. And there's one thing that you need to know when you're filming and planning on stabilizing your footage in post, and that is you're going to need to give yourself plenty of headroom. So as you can see right now, I am giving myself plenty of headroom up there. I would not normally film myself with this much headroom, but what you want to do is you want to make sure that when you stabilize this and the software crops into your image, that you don't end up cutting your head off. So if you have something that's important to you up above or down below, make sure you have plenty of room around that so that you can actually have your footage stabilized without having the important parts of your footage chopped off. So for me right now, while I'm vlogging, it's my head. So I'm giving myself plenty of headroom so I can have my footage stabilized and not end up with my head chopped off. All right, so we were able to see what the footage looks like before stabilization and after stabilization. Let's go ahead into the software now and just take a quick look at it and see how to do it, because it's super simple. Okay, so here we are on my computer, and the first thing we need to do is go get the software. So we're going to go ahead and grab it. It is a software from Sony. It's a piece of software from Sony called Catalyst Browse. You may have heard of it, but if not, it's very cool software. So we're just gonna go to Google right here. We're just gonna type in Catalyst Browse, hit enter so we can search for it. We're gonna see it's gonna show up from the Sony Creative Software. We're gonna go ahead and click on that link so that we can bring it open. And we can see here it says Catalyst Browse, and it's going to work with the latest Sony cameras and decks. So if you don't have it, just go ahead and download it. It's free software and you can get it working. So I already have it installed, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the software now. All right, so here is the app open right here on my computer, and these are all clips that are not stabilized yet. You can see here, when you see that little symbol on there, that means these clips can actually be stabilized. If you don't see that, that means that it does not have the gyro information needed to stabilize the clip. So yeah, unfortunately, it is that way with some cameras. All right, now the first thing that we need to do is just make sure we have our clips. If you don't see it, you can come here and you can, this is the view tab, but you can come to the browse tab and then you can search for wherever your clips are. If it's on your portable hard drive, you can clip there. This is my project folder for this project. I can come here to where I have the unstabilized footage, and then that's where everything's gonna be. So now what we want to do is actually stabilize some footage. So I'm going to go ahead and just, I'll select this clip right here. And now what I'm going to do is just down here where it says stabilize, I'm just going to go ahead and click on it. Now you can also see down here where it says tools, you can see where it says repair flashband, stabilize, and import EDL. But I'm going to go ahead and just click on that clip right there. And I'm going to go ahead and click on stabilize. We can see there it says it's, that it was analyzing the footage. And now I'm going to have the option of using either auto or manual. If I click on auto, you see that it'll just give me the stabilized crop resolution, and I can just sort of scrub through and see what it's going to look like in comparison to the original. So now I can go to manual here, and from manual I can then decide how much I want to actually stabilize the footage. So for instance, if I want to crop in more, make sure I really have it stabilized and cut out some of that headroom that I have, I can go ahead and bring it up there. So let's bring it up to about 60, let's go about 65% right there. So now what I can do is go ahead and just play it, and we'll see what this looks like side by side. And I'm going to go ahead and expand this out so that we can get this there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll click on this info tab. And now it's going to get rid of all the info on the side there. So you'll see there all that stuff's gone. And now I can see a little bit larger image. And I'm going to click on the play button. And we're going to just see here as I'm rolling. So now you can see in the original clip how much headroom I have there. And I did that so that I can have the footage stabilized and not cut my head off up there. Now, if you feel like you still have too much headroom, you can always go back over here to this section and you can crop in a little bit more. You're going to stabilize your footage a little bit more, but it's going to also crop in so you get rid of some of that headroom. So now we'll go back again. We'll click on this, and there we go. We can see there we can have the footage going, and that's probably a little bit too much for me. So I'm going to go ahead and just pause this. I'm going to go back. And I'm going to dial it back. It's at 53%. I'm going to go probably to about 60% and see what we get there. So I'll go to about 60%. And now we're going to try this again. So we'll roll this back here a little bit. And we'll leave that there. And now we're going to go ahead and play it and see what this is going to do. So it's playing a little bit choppy right now. We'll wait for this to, maybe it just needs to buffer through a little bit. So we're going to start all the way at the beginning there. There we go. And now we're going to go ahead and play this through and let this go. So yeah, and we can see there it is playing smoothly, and we can see how much it crops in there, but you can see how smooth that footage is with the Catalyst Browse versus not having it. So it's really, really shaky on the other side. I don't think anybody would want to watch that. However, this nice smooth footage on the other side is really nice looking there, and I think that's a really nice field of view for vlogging. Some people would like it a little bit wider, and you can go wider if you want. You can always go ahead and make it a bit wider if you need to. Now, if you plan on making it a little bit wider, I would recommend you not shooting with quite as much headroom. That way you're not, you don't have so much headroom up top. But I like to shoot a little bit tighter, and so I think this part looks good for me. Okay, so once you have your image the way you want it, and the stabilization the way you want it, you can just simply click right here, this little button right there. It's sort of like it looks sort of like a C laying down, something with an arrow on there. Just click that. That's going to bring open this side part here, the export window. It's going to ask you where you want to send your stabilized footage. So that's going to ask you where you want the final clip to go. It's going to ask you if you want to rename your file. So you have the option of renaming it if you want to. It's going to tell you what your footage is going to be. It's going to write my footage is going to be a REC709. It's going to have a XAVCS and XAVCS, and then it's going to be 4K footage there. And you can see here the output color space. You can change this if you want to. You can change pretty much everything if you want to, but I'm going to leave everything as it is. But if you plan on doing something where you need ProRes and you don't want to have to worry about transcoding later, you can do it right here. But I'm going to leave everything just as it is here. We can see the render preset. That's where it's going to be. You can reduce that if you like to. But I'm going to leave everything as it is. So, yeah. All right. You can also set in and out mark points if you want. There's a lot you can do there. So, but I have my footage set to go to my stabilized footage folder in my project file. So I'm going to go ahead and just click export. And now we can see here it's going to say exporting. It's rendering the one file. It's going to take a few minutes. We can see it's at about 4% right now. And it's going to jump up to 5%. Now, just all this part right here just depends on how fast your computer is. Now, I've heard some people complain that they don't like using Catalyst Browse because it's slow. I don't think it's slow at all, but I have a relatively fast MacBook Pro, and so I can get through a clip like this in 1 or 2 minutes without any real problem. So for me, it's not really a big deal. But if you have a very slow computer or an older computer, this might be an issue for you. But if not, then don't worry about it. We can see right here it's going to take about 5 minutes. For some people, that's a long time. It's about 5 minutes for a minute-long clip. But if you want stable footage, you have to pay the piper. So anyways, that's what it's going to do. And we'll take a look at the final clip once it's finished up here. All right, so it is finished up here. Let's go ahead and minimize that and go over to our folder there. And let's just find it. So it should be in my project folder here, and the stabilized footage, and there we go. There it is right there. So let's go ahead and open this up and take a look at it. Okay, there it is. It is definitely stable, and it yeah, that is definitely stable footage right there. That looks good. It is working there. So I would have to say that this is solid software. I'm digging it, and it allows you to really make your RX0 Mark II worth having again. It makes it so that it is a camera that you can actually vlog with and enjoy and get some good use out of it, because otherwise it just is sort of a nice niche camera that didn't have a lot of functionality because the image stabilization was so bad. But now it's something that's actually usable. All right, everyone, so there you have it. That is it. That is how you can use the RX0 Mark II and give yourself stabilized footage from this little tiny camera. It's going to give you gimbal-like footage. The only thing that you really have to worry about with this is making sure that you give yourself enough headroom and enough space around your footage, around your subject area, so it doesn't get chopped off or cropped out when you stabilize the footage, because it is going to crop in on your image when it's stabilizing. So it just depends on how much stabilization you need. If you don't need very much, then you can reduce the amount of stabilization and reduce that crop. If you need a lot, you're going to have to crop in more so that you get more stabilization on that particular clip. So yeah, anyways, I think it's kind of awesome. It really makes the RX0 Mark II a very useful camera again. It allows you to be able to vlog with this thing, something that you just couldn't really do before because the stabilization was just so poor, it just made your footage all jittery and it just made people sick watching it. So yeah, anyways, there you have it. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you're interested, I'll leave links to the Catalyst Browse software down below so you can check it out. And I'll leave links to the RX0 Mark II camera down below so you can check this out too if you're interested. And I hope you enjoyed seeing this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. And please subscribe to this channel. And follow me on Facebook. And I am Larry with Today I Feel Like. Thanks for coming back to see me. Come back and see me soon. And until next time, love, peace, and air grease. Peace.